Volodymyr Zelenskyy is in Brussels on his first visit to NATO headquarters since Russia's invasion, on a visit intended to shore up support for the Ukrainian war effort. The Ukrainian president said his priorities are air defence systems and long-range missiles, and he called for more ammunition, saying that Russia plans to make the winter painful for Ukraine. Mr. Zelenskyy also met with Belgian Prime Minister Alexandra de Croo. Well, ahead of the meeting, Belgium said it was considering sending F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. I asked our correspondent Jack Parrock in Brussels whether it confirmed that the jets would be delivered.
Yeah, it did. President Zelenskyy would have been pleased to hear that that was the case. He's been calling for those jets to be sent to the Ukrainian war effort for a number of months now. We've also heard that Denmark is preparing to send some F-16 fighter jets as well. Now, there is a bit of a stipulation from the Belgian side especially. They won't be sent until 2025, bearing in mind that there is an election here in Belgium in 2024. And Alexandra de Croo, the Belgian Prime Minister, said that that decision would be pending the decision of the next government here in Belgium. But it is the kind of thing that President Zelenskyy will want to hear. We also heard from the Belgian side that they've put together a 1.7 billion euro fund for Ukraine to help support them, mainly with reconstruction and infrastructure projects. That pot of money is coming from the proceeds, basically the taxation on Russian funds that have been frozen in Belgian financial institutions, so banks, etc., that have incurred taxes, that money will be sent to the Ukrainian war effort. And that is something that Zelenskyy broadly welcomed, obviously, when it was announced during the press conference today.
I'd also imagine Mr. Zelenskyy was somewhat worried that the invasion of his country would be forgotten amidst everything that's happened since the weekend. Was that a big topic there?
Yeah, there was sort of an underlying issue, both at that press conference with the Belgian Prime Minister and during the NATO ministerial meeting at the headquarters of the military alliance. During the press conference, I actually managed to ask that specific question to President Zelenskyy for DW, whether he felt that the issue going on in the Middle East right now may sort of divert or dilute the support that Ukraine is seeing from its Western partners. Take a listen.
I want to be honest with you. Of course, it's a dangerous situation for people. First of all, for people in Ukraine who are in this long war, long-term war, and and of course, everybody is afraid that, and of course, everybody is afraid that if there are some other tragedies worst in the world, with all respect to the people, yes, and of course there is, very understandable volume of military support. What partners, especially United States and other partners and EU, France, what they can give you. And of course, everybody is afraid, and I think also Russia count on it, on dividing support. And not only Russia, I'm sure.
Quite interestingly outspoken there, Phil, from the Ukrainian President Zelenskyy. We have heard some sort of messages of support from senior political figures. Lloyd Austin, the Defense Secretary of the United States, reconfirming support for Ukraine. Boris Pistorius, the German Defense Minister, also doing the same. They're keen to impress on the Ukrainians that they've got their back, that they stand by their side as they continue to try and fight off Russia's invasion. But it's clear, as we heard from Zelenskyy there, that there's real fear in Ukraine that there could be some sort of diversion of attention away from their war effort.
DW's Brussels Bureau Chief Alexandra von Nahmen is in NATO headquarters and told us more about what to expect from Zelenskyy's visit.
Well, he made it very clear here at NATO headquarters in Brussels that this is now a very crucial moment, that it is important for Ukraine to get additional weapon systems such as you just mentioned, air defense systems, anti-drone systems, ammunition. They need those weapons to get through the winter. Ukraine, as well as their Western partners, they are expecting Russia to intensify their aerial attacks on Ukrainian cities and on the Ukrainian energy infrastructure in the upcoming winter. They know that those attacks might be not as frequent as they used to be last winter because, of course, Russia has also depleted their stockpiles, but they can still be massive. So that is what the Ukrainian president is looking for. And we have already heard from some Western countries that they are ready to supply Ukraine with more air defense systems, anti-drone systems, for instance. And we have also heard today from the Danish defense minister who, together with Norway and with the Netherlands, they have promised Ukraine to train their soldiers. That's underway already, and to provide Ukraine with F-16 fighter jets. And the Danish minister told us today that they are planning to deploy F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine starting in March or April next year.
Alexandra, is there a fear on the Ukrainian side that the war or the current hostilities between Israel and Hamas could overshadow the war in Ukraine?
Well, I think that fears are growing that the U.S. could shift their attention to Israel, and that could have consequences for Ukraine and the support they are getting. However, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Mr. Austin, stressed here that the U.S. will provide Israel with whatever they need to protect their country, but it's not coming at at the price of Ukraine not getting what they need. So for now, those fears seem not to be justified, but of course it's important for Ukraine and the Ukrainian president to make sure that the support for their country is still there, that they can continue fighting, that they still get the weapons they need on the battlefield.
We'll leave it there for the time being. Thanks so much for joining us. DW's Brussels Bureau Chief Alexandra von Nahmen.